Hello, my name is Jessica. Thank you for joining me. So this practice is when you're needing a little afternoon pickup. It could also be you just woke up and you need a little pick-me-up, but in either case, we're going to work very gently and slowly just to give ourselves some time to reconnect to our life. So to that end, you might wish to have 2 blocks and a blanket nearby, and we're going to go ahead and start on our back. And when you come to your back, just lie flat for a moment. Your legs can be bent or your legs can be straight. It's totally up to you, but you're just going to allow your body to land. So the arms can be wherever they wish to be, whether they're on the body or opened off the body. And then, as I said, the legs are either straight or the legs are bent. And if the knees are bent, maybe the soles of the feet are touching and the legs are opening out, or maybe the knees are knocking in and the feet are a little bit wider than the hips. Wherever you've chosen to begin this practice, just allow yourself 3 more breath cycles to allow the body to just soften into the floor. And it might help if you just take some audible breaths here. So big inhalation and an audible sigh. 2 more. Last one. Awakening, whether it's the first thing in the morning or halfway through the day, is all about just being aware of where we are moment by moment, breath by breath, and finding that interconnectedness of all things, all aspects of life, all beings. So very gently start to tone the back of your throat and invite in a gentle Ujjayi pranayama. And allow that pranayama to really become stable, allowing it to become consistent so you can hear your breath coming in through the nose, constriction at the back of the throat, and you can hear the breath going out of the nose, maintaining that constriction at the back of the throat. And for the rest of our practice, even though I may not mention it, I encourage you to keep your awareness glued onto the breath, noticing if it can remain smooth and stable and consistent through the whole time. Take 1 more breath cycle here. And then gently, if the legs are straight, go ahead and bend the knees. Plant the feet so they're hip distance apart, soles of the feet on the mat, and then just hug your right knee into your chest. Give that right knee a bit of a squeeze so it's coming in closer to the body. And you might start by just taking a little bit of a half circle. So maybe that right knee swings towards the right armpit and then across the body a little bit towards the left side of your torso. Back and forth a few times. Gradually, you might find that that wants to become a whole circle, and it makes 1 circle from the whole thigh bone going one way. And again, we're trying to make this pretty contained. You're focusing on the breath, how it's moving in and out of your nose. And then you'll gently reverse that direction of the circle if you were taking a circle. But again, you're paying attention to the sense of awareness that you can bring to every little minuscule amount of movement, every breath that you take in, every breath that you let go of. Go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Flex through your left foot and send your left foot down away from you. Press the back of the left heel into the floor and hug the right knee closer. Back of left calf melts, back of left hamstring melts. And then you'll just hug that right knee in closer a little bit more. Reposition the head if need be, but you're just pausing and you're breathing. Gently release the right leg a little. Slip your hands behind the back of your right thigh. And then inhale, start to flex your right foot up towards the sky, straightening the right leg. And then exhale, bending the right knee, drawing the heel towards your pelvis. We've got 4 more of those. Inhale to straighten the leg. And exhale to bend the knee. As you take these last 3 sets, breathing in to straighten the leg, and breathing out to bend the knee. See if you can continue to work with pushing your thigh into your hands as you inhale, and then pulling the thigh into your chest as you exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Go ahead and straighten that right leg one more time. Inhale. And then take a few little ankle circles here. So sometimes chronic sitting can take the blood flow away from this part of our body. So make sure you bring it some love, bring it some attention. Make sure you go both directions. And then you'll gently come to stillness. Take a big breath in, extend up through the heel, and exhale, hug the knee into the chest. And then release the right foot to the floor. Drag the left foot in to meet the right. And just notice if you notice anything different between the right and left sides. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides. So draw that left knee in towards your chest. Give it a little bit of a hug. And you might just stay here in stillness. You might start to create a half semicircle, or rather a semicircle, by drawing that left knee out towards the left armpit, and then maybe across the body over towards the right side of the torso. And you might stay with that back and forth rocking motion. You might find that you wish to make that circle a whole circle, and so the thigh bone moves into the hip socket. Maybe you take 2 or 3 small-ish, medium-ish circles one way. And then you might find yourself coming to stillness for reversing directions, and you're just really checking in. What keeps us from being present is sometimes our nervous system can get overwhelmed. Sometimes our minds can get overwhelmed, our bodies can get overwhelmed. And so we're just spending some time getting to know us as we are at this moment. Go ahead and come to stillness, draw that left knee in. Go ahead and flex through your right foot, slide the right foot forward along the floor, and then make sure the right toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, the right knee is pointing up towards the sky. And you'll draw that left knee in closer as you push the back of the right leg into the floor, active through that right foot. And then gently slip your hands behind the back of your left thigh, left leg, and then inhale, flex through the left foot, send the foot towards the ceiling. And exhale, bend the knee, hug the knee into the chest. And we'll go 4 more like that. Big breath in. And big breath out. 3 more. Continue to kick the thigh into the hands as you breathe in. And squeeze the knee into the chest as you breathe out. Last one. And out. Go ahead and inhale, send the left leg high. Flex through that left foot. Pull the kneecaps up and just take a few ankle circles one way. And then a few ankle circles the other. And I encourage you to notice if you're rushing through this and see if you can slow down. This is your time for you. There's nowhere else that you need to be, nothing else you need to attend to. So sauce. Once you're balanced there, go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Take a big breath in, flex through that left foot. And exhale, bend the knee, hug the left knee into the chest. Gently release the left foot to the floor, drag the right foot in to meet its mate, and just pause for a moment and notice what you notice. If there's any wonkiness happening in your hips, go ahead and walk your feet so they're a little bit wider than your hips. Let the knees knock in. Keep the feet firmly rooted on the floor, and then you'll inhale and open the knees out as wide as they'll go. And exhale, come back in. We'll just do 3 of these. It's just to make sure your sacrum's okay. And it's a very awkward feeling pose, but it's just helping the 2 innominate bones of the pelvis come back into a state of symmetry so there's no compression around your sacrum, low back area. Awesome sauce. All right, let's go ahead and come to neutral. Walk your feet so they're hip distance apart. Grab one of your blocks and slide it between your inner upper thighs. From there, bend your elbows so your fingertips now point up towards the sky and hug your elbows towards your waist. They don't have to touch, but they're in line with your waist. From here, start to push down into your feet, start to hug into your blocks, start to push down into your head in order to tuck your shoulders under. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale, push down through the arms, push down through the feet, lift up through the hips. And as you exhale, roll the spine down bone by bone, beginning at the crown of your head ideally, and working down through every vertebra of the spine. When the tailbone hits, you'll take a big breath in, press through the feet, squeeze into the block, lift your hips high, and then exhale, slowly roll down vertebra by vertebra, bone by bone. And you'll do 3 more of those on your own. So inhale lifts you up. Exhale rolls you down. Two more. Last one. This time we'll stay up. Now as you exhale, walk the shoulders underneath you. Go ahead and keep the arms there if that's helpful for you, or extend the hands towards the feet. You might grab the opposite edges or outer edges of your mat. You might walk your hands underneath you. You might even grab your outer ankles if that's not going to create stress or strain. But you've got 3 breath cycles here. I'd like you to just breathe. Connect with the parts of the body that are touching the floor. Connect with the parts of the body that are lifting away from the floor. Last breath cycle here. Nice work. Gently release the hands if they're clasped. Untuck the shoulders, bring the pelvis back down to the floor and pause. Untuck the shoulders even further if that feels like something you may need to do. And you'll just take a moment to pause, and you'll take a moment to breathe. Gently remove that block from in between your thighs. Extend one of your arms alongside your ears, roll over onto that same side, and continue to make your way up to a hands and knees position. When you get up to hands and knees, you might choose to pad your knees with a blanket if that feels good to you. And we're going to take a variation of Anahatasana. So you want to make sure you have some room towards the top of your mat if your limbs are pretty long to walk your arms. And then from here, we're going to start by tucking both sets of toes under and then push your pelvis back towards your heels. Check in, make sure this distance is okay with your knees, and if not, adjust it. And then looking at your hands, start to walk your hands pretty far forward. Come so far forward that only the tips of your fingertips can rest onto the floor, and then you'll push them down and forward. Lift up through the palm of your hand, the heel of your hand, your inner elbows, your inner armpits, and wrap your triceps to the floor. Now as you're here, you're pushing the hands down and forward, you're lifting through those happy armpits, you're finding a little bit of stretch on the back of the feet, as well as perhaps the low back, maybe even the outer hips, depending upon where you're tight. You've got 2 more breath cycles here, and just observe and notice what you notice. Notice if the front ribs can continue to draw back. The forehead might reach towards the floor and touch at some point, but keep lifting through the inner armpit, so that's more important. Nice work. Let's go ahead and inhale, come forward, hands and knees. Extend the tops of the feet to the floor, and you might pitter patter the toes if that feels good to you. Just a little shake. Okay. From here, root down into your right hand. Inhale, sweep your left arm up. And then exhale, thread that left arm underneath you, bringing your whole left ear, cheek, shoulder to the mat. You might walk the right hand closer to your face or closer to your left arm, but you'll take a few breaths here. You'll notice what happens if you push down into your straight arm, that's your left arm. Maybe draw your chin to your chest just a little bit, and then breathe into the whole back left side of your body. Nice work. Root down through the right hand. Inhale, sweep your left arm up. And then exhale, lower the left arm down. We'll go ahead and switch that on the other side. So push down into the left arm. Inhale, swim your right arm up. And then exhale, carve that hand underneath the body so that your right ear, right shoulder comes to the mat. You might need to replace that left palm. And you're pushing down into the right arm, the straight arm, and you're isometrically pulling it back. You might notice that you can draw the chin to the chest a little bit, and that just allows more stretch, more sensation to enter into the back of your right shoulder. Awesome sauce. Let's go ahead and come out. So inhale, push down into your left arm, reach up through your right, and exhale, lower that hand down. From here, walk your hands about one handprint forward. Go ahead and tuck both sets of toes under and start to push your handprint, so the tips of the fingers down and forward, lift up through the palm of the hand, lift up through your inner armpits, and start to lift your hips high. Now, as the hips start to lift up and back, keep the knees bent, keep the armpits lifted, and let your ears align with the center of your arm bones. From here, slowly extend just your right leg so the left knee stays super bent. You might bend that left knee even more and notice that shifts the hips, but you're just paying attention to what's happening in the right calf. And then continue to lift up through the inner armpits, switch legs. So we want to keep the hands, the shoulders integrated, the neck long, even as we're starting to open up the backs of our legs. Nice work. Then you'll take that one more time on your own, following your own breath. And I do encourage you to notice how slow, how conscious you can move. Sometimes it feels really good to just shake things out and get things moving. And sometimes it feels even better, different, but sometimes better, to move a little bit more consciously and deliberately. Awesome. Once you feel balance between your sides, you'll go ahead and come to your version of downward facing dog. So maybe the knees are bent, maybe the knees are straight, but we're going to push down and forward through the heels, or rather the index fingers of the hands, L shape, lifting up through the palm and heels of hands up through the inner armpits, lifting the ribs towards the waist towards the hips towards the legs down into the feet. And then you'll inhale and come forward into fallen Asana, plank pose, and you'll pause, push down through the floor, lift up through those inner armpits, lengthen back through your tail. And then you'll slowly bend the knees and lower the knees to the mat. From here, go ahead and swim your right foot out to the right, reach your left foot back, spin the whole sole of the left foot down to the floor. You might need to walk the right hand back for a little bit, and then you'll start to spin your rib cage towards the left, stacking the left shoulder on top of the right, the left hip on top of the right, and you'll find yourself in this weird Vashisthasana modification. So we're pushing down through the left side of the body. We're breathing into the left side of the body as you're pushing down through the left foot, rather. And you're just noticing what you notice. You might bend the left elbow, holding the head with the left hand. And then notice if you want to lean back, let your pelvis go forward a little bit. Or maybe even draw your elbow down to meet the other one, just feeling what it feels like to open up the left intercostals to some store side. Very gently, let's go ahead and come back to the center. So plant both hands on the floor. Bring both knees back to center. And this time you'll swim your left foot to the left. Keep the toes tucked under. Maybe reposition that left hand back. Send your right leg back. And then start to roll towards the right. And so the right arm is kind of dangling over our head if that feels okay for your shoulders. The tailbone is lengthening down towards the right heel. Go ahead and bend the right elbow if you did so on the first side. And maybe you lean back on the chest, keeping both shoulder blades evenly open. Maybe you curl that right elbow towards the left. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. Great. Go ahead and come back to center. Both hands underneath your shoulders. And then take your hands one handprint forward. That blanket can stay there or not. It's totally up to you. But you're going to push down through the hands, lift up through the happy inner armpits, toes curled under, hips lift high. Start to press yourself back to downward facing dog. And you might walk your feet in one handprint or one footprint, half a footprint if that feels good to you. But just find a stable down dog. Nice work. Now from here, go ahead and inhale, gaze towards your hands. As you exhale, just step your left leg forward. Yeah. So with the left leg coming in between your hands, you might find that this is a great opportunity for your blocks, and you'll pause there. You might choose to stay exactly as you are, or slide that blanket up a little bit and lower your back knee down. From there, start to push into the front foot. Again, you can stay right here. Push into the back knee. You can stay right here. Or you can start to walk your hands up the center of the thigh. And you're just pushing down into front foot, pushing down into back knee, seeing if the tailbone can lengthen down, the heart can lift, the front ribs can draw back. and you'll breathe. And you might be happy as a clam there. You might want to reach your right arm up. You might want to take a gentle little side bend, reaching up and slightly over to the left. But you're still pushing down into your left foot. You're pushing down into your right knee. You're hugging those front ribs back as you're sort of arcing up and over to the left. Nice work. Go ahead and inhale, come back through center. As you exhale, hands come back to the floor. Straighten the back leg long. Take a moment to pause, lift the pelvis and step your left leg back to meet your right. Plank pose. Take a moment to pause. Take a moment to breathe. See if you can lift up a little bit more through those armpits. Lengthen back through the tail and squeeze your glutes and squeeze your quads. Take one more breath cycle here. And then exhale, bend the knees. Start to push the pelvis up and back. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And you'll take 3 breaths. I really like saying that word. So as we reconnect to our days, as we waken up, either from long sleepy time in the night or just coming back as a midday check-in, it helps to notice what things we enjoy, what things bring us a sense of connection and pleasure, both mentally, but also in terms of our physical sensations. All right, let's go ahead and try the other side. So inhale, gaze your hands. As you exhale, this time the right leg comes forward with you. Plant it between your hands. And then you might need to notice if you need to adjust that blanket. Opportune moment to put hands on blocks and pause there. You might lower that back knee down to the floor. Then push into your right foot, push into your left knee. Start to hug those points together as you start to walk your spine up to vertical. And then you'll just pause. Tailbone draws down, right foot pushes down, left knee pulls down and forward, and you're just pausing and you're breathing. We're paying attention to what's happening on the front of our right thigh, left thigh. And you might stay there. You might reach your left arm up and then take a little side bend up and over towards the right. So we're just pausing and we're breathing. And we're seeing hence what we notice. Awesome sauce. Next in breath, keep drawing those front ribs back. Come back up through center. As you exhale, hands come back to the floor. Tuck the back toes under if they're not. Straighten the back leg long. Lift your pelvis. Squeeze your left glute. Step back. Plank pose. 3 breaths. And you're just observing and you're noticing what you notice. Nice work. Go ahead and bend the knees, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now at this point, if you do have the blanket, I would encourage you to say sayonara to that. And then we're going to see if we can add on. So inhale, lift your right leg up and back. Push down into your left big toe. Pull the outer left heel back. Lift up through the inner right thigh. Reach up through the right heel and lift up through both armpits. Draw both front ribs back, or all your front ribs back, and lift up to that right leg even more. Next, exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Great. From here, spin the left foot down to the floor for warrior 2, but pause. You might want to walk both blocks in so that they're underneath your shoulders. From here, look into your left foot. Make sure right foot. Make sure right foot is directly underneath right knee. You might then bring one block to the inside edge of your right foot. Remove the other block off the mat and bring your left hand to your left hip. Now push down into your back foot, push down into your front foot, suck those points forward. Lower your left hand in front of you, and then you're going to push down into the right hand, push down into the right foot, and roll your rib cage over to the left. So now we're in an extended side angle, but now you can reach out through that top hand, push down through the back foot, and see if you can lift up through the under right armpits to wrap a little bit more towards extended side angle. Nice work. Go ahead and turn the gaze down to the floor, push down into the feet, squeeze them together, swing the left arm down and forward to circle up to warrior 2. Great. And when you're there, you're going to pause. You're going to see if maybe your hands want to come back to the hips. You want to see if you want to extend out through both arms, which you're going to push down into the pinky toe edge of your back foot, push down into the front heel, suck those points together and see if you can breathe. One more breath cycle here. Next in breath, push into the front leg to straighten the front leg. And then inhale, reach forward, up and down, lowering your right hand to the block. Maybe it comes to the shin, or maybe it comes to the floor. Left hand now can come to left hand. If the right hand is on the floor or inside the right shin, you're going to push the right arm-ish into the right shin-ish and start to roll your chest again towards the left. You might then extend up through your left arm for Utthita Trikonasana. Draw the chin back as the tailbone lengthens in towards your left leg. And you'll take a moment to pause, and you'll take a moment to breathe. Next in breath, gaze goes to the floor, left arm swims back to come down. Pivot to the ball of your back foot, low lunge, and then go ahead and step yourself back, plank pose. Option to stay right here, or just lower through a chaturanga, come into a cobra or an up dog. Lower back down if you've taken that. Come into plank, and then we'll all meet back in downward facing dog. We'll all, you and me, meet back in downward facing dog. And you'll just pause, and you'll just breathe, and you'll notice what you notice. Awesome sauce. Okay, let's go ahead and try the other side. So inhale, lift your left leg up and back. As you exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Go ahead and pause here. This will be a great moment to have both of your blocks. And you'll spin your back foot to the floor. So now your right foot's to the floor. Bring the left block hand into the inside edge of your left foot. The right block comes off to the mat. It comes off the mat to the side. Then go ahead and see if you can push into your back foot. See if you can push into your front foot. Suck those points together. Let your right arm dangle to the floor, and then you'll start to push down into left arm, push down into left foot, roll left ribs under to stack right ribs on top, and we'll find ourselves an extended side angle on the other side. And you'll just pause, and you'll breathe. You'll notice that you can find extra length through the upper body by breathing more with each in-breath. Nice work. Next in-breath, gaze comes to the floor. Let the right arm swim to the floor. Let it circle back in order to bring your spine up to warrior two. And you'll just pause. First thing that you might want to notice is if your hands want to rest for a little bit. And then you'll push into your back foot. Keep integrating that hip, but externally rotate the left foot. The arms might then radiate out, softening at the shoulders. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe. One more breath cycle here. Tailbone lengthens down. Next in breath, straighten your front leg by pushing down onto the floor. And then reach forward, out and down, shifting the hips back. Maybe that hand comes down to the block. Maybe it comes to the shin. Maybe it comes to the floor. But you'll bring your right hand to your right hip. If the left arm elbow-ish thing is close to your inner left shin, push those into each other. Lengthen your left side body. That's the underside body. Wrap it under and forward. And then you might find the capacity to reach up through the right arm. And again, we want to engage that right hip. So you're squeezing the right hip, pushing down into the right pinky toe, finding length, drawing your ears back, your chin back. Nice work, gaze comes to the floor. Circle your right arm down to the mat. Pivot to a low lunge. Step yourself back. Plank pose. Option to stay right there or cycle through an upward facing dog or a cobra. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. And you just take 3 breaths. From down dog, lower your knees to the mat. Swim your feet off to one side of your butt to the other and swim your legs around in front of you. So you come down onto our pelvis. And then once you're sitting in Dandasana, so your legs are in front of you and your spine's upright, you might want to put a blanket underneath your pelvis. And then you'll sit nice and tall. And because we haven't done anything symmetrical, externally rotating yet, you're going to draw the soles of your feet together and hug the feet towards you. And you can hold on to the outer ankles, hug the shoulder blades back, lift the heart, and just take a moment to pause and breathe here. So you might stay here. You might want to start to shift the top of your sacrum forward, and then you might find that your elbows just rest on the inside edges of your thighs, on your calves and your knees. And you might just pause and breathe there. If you have the mobility to go further without compromising any of your joints, by all means, you might fold forward even further. And if you find that you do not have the mobility, just sit as tall as you can, soften the gaze or close the eyes, and just breathe very slowly, very consistently, very smoothly. Some of the things that can leave us feeling groggy, whether it's first thing in the morning or halfway through the day, is we feel, at least I feel, a little disengaged. So if I can give myself permission to really connect, to ground into what I'm feeling, it allows me to re-engage. All right, if you're forward folded, please start to walk yourself back up. Hands will swim to the outer edges of your thighs. Close your knees together like a book. And now here you're going to keep your right leg in towards you and extend your left leg long in front. Now flex through that left foot as much as we did when we started our practice, so the toes are pulling back to your knees and it's pulling up to your hips. You might then walk your right foot in even closer. I want you to sit as tall as you can. So really pulling on the front of that shin bone just a little bit, pulls the heart forward. And you might stay right as you are. You might swing your left arm around the right shin, the right arm behind the right pelvis or off to the right side. Inhale, lift up. As you exhale, evacuate the belly on the right side. So empty it. And that allows the left ribs to come towards the inner right thigh. And you might just stay here. Sometimes I feel like it stretches the space between my shoulder blades. If I push my right shin out into my left arm, pull my left arm into my right shin, sort of gets into that negative space behind my left shoulder blade just a bit. Sometimes that feels really awesome. Awesome sauce. And then gently you'll inhale and unwind. Go ahead and send your right leg forward to meet your left. And just sit tall for a moment. You might find that you wish to circle your ankles here. You might find that you wish to circle your shoulders here. Whichever feels best to you, you'll go ahead and do it. You'll allow yourself to re-engage with what's alive, alert for you at this moment. And then you'll find yourself into a still neutral spot. Now we'll switch sides. So bend the left knee, hug your left knee in towards your pelvis, and check in with that right leg. Make sure right toes are pulling up towards right knee is pulling up towards your right hip. And then both hands can come on the front of that left shin. Now, depending upon how mobile you are and how much extra skin your body has, that foot might touch, it might not. It might also depend upon how your joints are. This feels like a good spot for me. You find a good spot for you, regardless of what it looks like. And then we'll pull that left shin in, we'll lift up through the heart, and you can stay right here. You might swim your right arm around your left shin, your left arm to the left, maybe slightly back behind you, and then inhale, find length through the vertebra. Exhale, empty the belly on the left side, and start to wrap your right ribs towards that inner left thigh. And again, you might reposition that right arm. You might start to press the right arm into the left shin into the right arm, and rotate the ribs towards the left. And you got one more breath cycle here, just observing and breathing, remembering that the sensations that we have allow us to engage with our life. They give us information. Awesome sauce. All right, gently inhale, unwind. Go ahead and extend both legs long in front of you. And then you will make your way onto your back. And you can get there however you wish to. Maybe you just bend your knees and hold on to the backs of your thighs and slowly roll down. Maybe you just flop down. You choose whatever works best for you. But once you find yourself down on the mat, walk the feet in so they're hip distance apart. Walk the knees outside of the hips, let the knees knock in. And then you might find that you want to put a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly. You might also find that you just wish to wrap your arms around your body for constructive rest. Now we're going to stay here for a total of 10 breath cycles. So if you've taken constructive rest, about 4 or 5 breaths in, go ahead and switch whichever arm is on top. If you have a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly, just stay there the whole time. But what you're going to do is just allow yourself to connect to this sense of containment, this pose. Release that I find is very relaxing. It helps me harmonize my energy or draw in energy when I feel like I have very little. And surprisingly, sometimes that can happen first thing in the morning, and sometimes that can happen in the middle of the day. It just really depends upon you. Depends upon your energetic needs. If you haven't switched arms, please switch arms if you're doing the wrap around position of constructive rest. And for these last few breath cycles here, I'd like to pose the question for you to ask of yourself of what is it that I'm really needing? I cannot speak for you, but I know for me, sometimes I feel tired because I need rest, yes. And sometimes I feel tired because I'm not adequately engaged, not adequately challenged, adequately supported. Sometimes it's because I'm bored. Sometimes it's because I'm overwhelmed. Each time it's different. And so for today, ask what it is that you need to complete your practice. And once you've gotten that signal, that message, by all means, go ahead and do that. One of the benefits of this being a recorded practice is you can stop the video and return whenever you'd like to. Got about another minute or so that I've allocated for you doing whatever you're doing. So if you've done something asymmetrical, I encourage you to visit the other side. And if you're already ready to say peace out, I'm ready for Shavasana, by all means start to make your way there. And your Shavasana might be constructive rest, it might be legs up the wall, it might be Supta Baddha Konasana, it might even be original Shavasana, the granddaddy of all the poses. But whatever you choose to be your final resting pose for this practice, for this day, give yourself the opportunity to set yourself up well so that you really can relax. You can be nourished and nurtured by the support of the shape that you have chosen. Because one of the big things is, in order to feel energized, engaged, active, alive, alert, you do need to trust in the support of another, an entity, a situation, life in general. But we also need to be open to really fully receiving it. And Shavasana is kind of that training where we can learn to open ourselves up to receiving, not because we've necessarily done anything to deserve it, but just because we exist. So when you feel settled, we'll end our practice by just, or at least the physical portion, but just bringing your awareness to your breath. And specifically draw your awareness to the belly. And watch as the body breathes in and as the body breathes out in the abdominal region. Begin to return your awareness to your breath. As you come back, take a moment to check in and just notice what you notice. If there's any part of you that longs to linger here, by all means, hang out here. When you are ready to move forward, you'll start to invite small, gentle movement back into your physical form in whatever way feels nurturing to you. After a bit of gentle movement, make your way to your right side. And you'll just pause. And you'll breathe. And then very gently, you'll start to press yourself up to a tall seat. They do encourage you to elevate your pelvis on a block or a blanket or a zafu if you have one of those. It's a meditation cushion. And you'll sit tall. Find a comfortable seat so your head, your ears over your shoulders over your hips are rooted down. Legs are rooted down, the hands, the shoulders are softening down. And then we'll complete by taking 3 rounds of Nadi Shodanam. So with your left hand, you'll make Jnana Mudra. So you'll tuck your index finger into the base of your thumb and extend out through the other 3 fingers. The left palm faces up or faces down, depending upon if you need inspiration, it faces up, or grounding, it faces down. The right hand will come in front of your face. The thumb will rest on the right nostril. The ring finger, pinky finger will rest on the left. And then the middle finger and index finger either tuck under or they press into the third eye center. Gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Close your right nostril, inhale through your left. Top of the inhalation, close the left, exhale out through the right. When you need to, draw the breath in through the right. Top of the inhalation, close the right, exhale through the left. 2 more on your own. Connect with the sensation of the breath as it enters and exits the nostril. Next time the breath exits through the left nostril, lower the right hand. Just take 3 natural breaths. Checking in and just becoming sensitive, alert, present to where you are at this moment in time. How you're feeling and what's alive and alert within you. Draw your hands to heart center Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of the thumbs into the sternum and lift your thumbs, or rather lift your heart to your thumbs. Gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. The light within me honors and salutes the light within you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.